A very good evening to you, dear viewers. Now it's time for this English news bulletin coming to you out of Channel 2. This is Reem Tamer and we begin with the headlines. President Sisi directs to develop Egyptian airports through international partnerships. Prime Minister Madbouli inaugurates mega home appliance factory and leading e-commerce company in Africa. At least 49 people killed in Israeli strikes in Gaza as ceasefire prospects inch closer. The news in full. President Fattah al-Sisi directed the continued development of Egyptian airports through international partnerships based on efficiency and sustainability, alongside encouraging private sector participation. This comes within the framework of Egypt's Vision 2030, which aims to transform airports into advanced regional hub that adopt the latest global operational systems while ensuring an attractive investment environment that guarantees economic viability and sustainable development. This directive was issued during a meeting held on Saturday in the new Alamein city with Minister of Civil Aviation Sameh Al-Hifni. The meeting included a presentation of the comprehensive strategic vision to advance civil aviation sector in all its components, covering air navigation, aircraft fleet development, airport upgrades, and the enhancement of human resources capabilities. The President also reviewed the progress of the new Republic Air Gateway project. President Fattah al-Sisi gave directives to increase the compensations by £100,000 for each case of Menofia accident victims and £25,000 for each injury case, in addition to prior compensations that were offered by Ministries of Labour and Solidarity. The President also directed the government to follow up on the maintenance and repairing of roads concisely, especially the regional ring road and the rapid conclusion of the road and modification of the path in a clear way, and removing hurdles that lead to accidents on these roads immediately. Earlier, First Lady Mrs. Intisar al-Sisi directed the Red Crescent to offer support to families of victims of Menofia accident. This is in a post on her official social media page. The First Lady expressed her deep grief over the death of young girls who died in the painful accident in Menofia. She also prayed for them, asking God for mercy and forgiveness for them and patience for their families. She also asked the Red Crescent for the rapid psychological and physical support for the families of the victims. Upon First Lady directives, Red Crescent teams moved to offer support to the victims' families. The Red Crescent teams continue studying the case of each family to offer the necessary help in coordination with the Ministry of Solidarity. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli stressed on Saturday that Egypt is on track to becoming a true regional hub for industry in various sectors across the Middle East and Africa, thanks to its success in attracting leading global manufacturers. This came during the inauguration of the first factory in Egypt and third in Africa for home appliances in the 10th of Ramadan city, as well as the largest e-commerce logistics hub for a leading technology company in Africa located on the Suez Road. We have the details. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli inaugurated on Saturday the first factory in Egypt and third in Africa for home appliances in the 10th of Ramadan city. Followed this, he opened the largest e-commerce logistics hub for a leading technology company in Africa located on the Suez Road. The Prime Minister was accompanied by Minister of Housing Sharif al-Sharbini, Governor of Sharqiyya Hazem al-Ashmouni, as well as a number of state senior officials. During the inauguration, Madbouli emphasized that the Egyptian state is prioritizing industrial development, technology and innovation at this stage, considering them among key pillars of development and economic growth. He highlighted their role in creating direct and indirect job opportunities, reducing reliance on imports, increasing local content, boosting exports, and enhancing the competitiveness of Egyptian products abroad, as well as empowering startups and supporting many other aspects of the Egyptian economy. In this context, the Prime Minister explained that in light of states' focus on the industrial sector and boosting various private sector investments, a swift action plan was developed in accordance with directives of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. The plan aims to capitalize on Egypt's capabilities and resources, which qualify it to become regional and global industrial and logistical hub. It also promotes private sector partnerships, localization of technology, innovation, scientific research, and the development and training of human capital to ensure a capable and productive workforce. Foreign Minister Badr Abdel receives on Saturday Austrian counterpart Beate Mehl-Riesinger, who is currently visiting Cairo. The ministers hold a bilateral meeting that is followed by expanded talk session with the attendance of the delegations of the two countries to discuss the remarkable relations linking the two countries, regional and international issues on top of them, the latest developments in the Middle East and Gaza Strip. The top diplomat and his Austrian counterpart will also hold a joint press conference following the talks. Egypt welcomed the signing of a peace agreement by the Democratic Republic of Congo and also the Republic of Rwanda, which was reached under the sponsorship of the United States. The deal was officially signed in Washington as a step towards resolving the crisis in eastern DRC. In a statement issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Immigration on Saturday, Egypt praised the agreement as an important step to achieve peace and stability in the Great Lakes region. Egypt also reiterated its steadfast support for all regional and international efforts aimed at resolving conflicts in Africa through peaceful means. Furthermore, Egypt expressed its readiness to contribute to any African or international effort that would help implement the peace agreement. Egypt has strongly condemned the repeated attacks carried out by Israeli settlers against innocent Palestinian civilians in several cities and villages in the occupied West Bank, the latest of which resulted in the killing and injury of a number of Palestinians. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Immigration said in a statement on Saturday that such systematic assaults against the Palestinian people constitute a blatant violation of international law and the four Geneva Conventions and undermine all efforts aimed at achieving peace, security, and stability. The statement said Egypt stressed the urgent need for the international community to take action to put an end to these flagrant violations and to assume its responsibility in confronting the ongoing injustice faced by the Palestinian people under the occupation. Egypt also reaffirmed its unwavering position that all Israeli settlements in the occupied Arab territories are illegal and represent a major obstacle to reaching a just resolution to the Palestinian cause. At least 49 people were killed across Gaza by Israeli strikes as Palestinians face a growing humanitarian crisis in Gaza and ceasefire prospects inch closer. The strikes began late Friday and continued into Saturday morning, among others killing 12 people near the Palestinian stadium in Gaza City, which was sheltering displaced people, and 8 more living in apartments. According to Gaza's health ministry, the war has killed over 56,000 Palestinians. It says more than half of the dead were women and children. United Nations officials said a U.S. and Israeli-backed distribution system in Gaza was leading to mass killings of people seeking humanitarian aid, drawing accusations from Israel that the UN was aligning itself with Hamas. Eyewitnesses and local officials have reported repeated killings of Palestinians seeking aid at distribution centers over recent weeks in the war-stricken territory, where Israeli forces are battling Hamas fighters. The health ministry in Gaza says that since late May, more than 516 people have been killed near 8 centers while seeking scarce supplies. The country's civil defense agency has also repeatedly reported people being killed while seeking aid. U.S. President Donald Trump voiced optimism about a new ceasefire in Gaza as criticism grew over mounting a civilian death at Israeli-backed food distribution centers in the territory. Asked by reporters how close the ceasefire was between Israel and Hamas, Trump said, "We think within the next week we're going to get a ceasefire." The United States brokered the ceasefire in the devastating conflict in the waning days of former President Joe Biden's administration, with support from Trump's incoming team. The Israeli army said on Saturday that a missile fired from Yemen towards Israeli territory had been most likely successfully intercepted, while Yemen's Houthi forces claimed responsibility for the launch. Israel has threatened Yemen Houthi movement, which has been attacking Israel in solidarity with Gaza, with a naval and air blockade if its attacks on Israel persist. The Houthi military spokesperson said the group was responsible for Saturday's attack, adding that it fired the missile towards the southern Israeli city of Beersheba. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araqji indicated that Tehran may reject any request by the head of UN nuclear watchdog, the IAEA, for visits to Iranian nuclear sites. Araqji said that IAEA head Rafael Grossi's insistence on visiting the bombed sites under the pretext of safeguard is meaningless and possibly and even malign in its intent. The IAEA earlier said in a statement, Grossi emphasized the need for IAEA inspectors to continue their verification activities in Iran as required under its Comprehensive Safeguards Agreement CSA with the agency. Iran's parliament approved a bill on Wednesday to suspend cooperation with the IAEA. Iran held a state funeral service on Saturday for around 60 people, including its military commanders, killed in its war with Israel after Tehran's top diplomat condemned the U.S. Donald Trump's comments on Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei as unacceptable. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, along with other senior government officials and military commanders, including Ismail Qani, head of the Quds Force, the foreign operations arm of the Revolutionary Guard, attended the event. Senior advisor to Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Shamkhani, who was targeted and wounded during the war, also took part in the ceremony using a walking cane, state TV showed. Images displayed mock-ups of Iranian ballistic missiles as well as coffins wrapped in Iranian flags and bearing portraits of the deceased commanders in uniform near Inqilab Square in central Tehran, where the march began. A Russian drone strike on Ukraine's southern port city of Odessa killed 2 people and wounded 14, including children. Separately, authorities in Ukraine's southern Kherson region said 1 person was killed and 3 others were wounded in Russian strikes over the past day. Tens of thousands of people have been killed in Russia's offensive, which has forced millions from their homes and devastated much of eastern Ukraine. Ukraine has launched retaliatory strikes on Russia throughout the war. The Russian Defense Ministry said on Saturday its air defense had shot down 31 Ukrainian drones overnight. Moscow also said it had captured another village in the Donetsk region, which the Kremlin has claimed as part of Russia since late 2022. Moving to the world of business and finance, Deputy Prime Minister for Industrial Development and Minister of Industry and Transport, Kamil Al-Wazir, asserted that Egyptian-Turkish cooperation can play a pivotal role in advancing development across Africa. This came during Al-Wazir's remarks while taking part in the 2025 Global Connectivity in Transport Forum held in Istanbul with the participation of Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and officials from 70 countries, as well as a wide range of international stakeholders. Al-Wazir also held a series of meetings with senior policymakers and industrial leaders to strengthen global partnerships in the fields of industry and transport, which comes in line with Egypt Vision 2030. The minister said Turkey stands as a vital partner in this journey due to shared interests and strategic potentials. Moving to the exciting world of sports, as Egyptian squash star Nouran Gohar, world #1 seed, won her 4 squash 4 finals, beating #4 Olivia Weaver in a thrilling women's final. Gohar had won all 13 of her matches against Weaver in the final event of the 2024-2025 squash season held in Toronto, Canada from June 23 to 18. Gohar won the final match against US star Olivia Weaver with 3-1. While in the men's competition, British #1 Joel Macon won the PSA Squash Tour after beating Egyptian #1 Mustafa Asal. The PSA Squash Tour finals bring the curtain down on the PSA Squash Tour campaign, with the 2025-2026 season set to be in August. Dear viewers, this brings us to the end of this English News Bulletin. That was Reem Tamer. Thank you for watching.